We are joined now by what I consider to be the contemporary rights Benjamin Franklin, Andrew Breitbart, founder and proprietor of Big Hollywood, Big Government, author of Righteous Indignation, Excuse Me While I Save the World, the estimable Andrew Breitbart. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Did Ben Franklin like fart jokes with his kids?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly why I drew the direct parallel.
Okay, thanks.
And he had the massive horn for Parisian women, so that also ties into it.
I've watched every Emmanuel, including the foreign one.
Even Emmanuel in space before Obama dismantled the program.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson.
The role of Emmanuel in space was to tell the space people that they were good at math.
Speaking of Emmanuel Creaky, just back from 3 days in the marsh with Tucker Carlson. How was that, and what were you doing?
I'm a sportsman, as everybody knows. And I watched a bunch of talented sportsmen shoot pheasant. I can still say that I'm a pacifist, inadvertently so.
You didn't hoist a gun to the shoulder and take out a mallard?
They kept telling me that I was hitting them, but I think they did that out of sympathy when the group would shoot it. But I have no skill set at that part of the planet that exists in the middle of the country. I still have a blue state, Whole Foods aisle shopping kind of mindset.
Yes. Well, it's best to find pheasants in their natural habitat, i.e., under glass, I find. Speaking of dangerous critters, though, to be up close and lock eyes, and I'm sure you've been at a sawhorse with some of these young radicals. What's the Occupy LA movement look like up close and personal, Andrew?
Well, I actually went to that one right when it started out. I'm not sure that I could get away with that at this point because they're pretty organized. The first thing that happened when I got there, I got myself my own personal SEIU minder. About 350-pound guy with a ponytail. Mm-hmm. Seemed kind of like On the Waterfront meets Bill and Ted, and that's pretty much a good description of this group of people.
And why did the SEIU guy? Why was he willing to shepherd you around? Was he a fan, or
clearly a fan? He knew who I was when I was there. I've had my confrontations over the last year or so with the SEIU, and they've gotten quite violent. This guy wasn't a violent sort, but when I went out through the crowd with video cameras, he wanted to forewarn the crowd that I was there to, quote-unquote, incite them with questions, penetrating questions such as capitalism, thumbs up or thumbs down. And all of them in a cascading sea of thumbs down. He was like, stop, he's trying to incite you. And there's this one guy who's in the middle of giving a thumbs down, and he just changes his direction of his thumb. It's like, I'm going to move it. And he just barely moves it to a thumbs sideways.
Now, the shocking part of this story that there are the opposable thumbs in that crowd, I guess, is what I'm shocked at. We're talking to Andrew Breitbart, the author of Righteous Indignation, Excuse Me While I Save the World. Now, I've seen sound bites this morning from as disparate sources as Paul Ryan hinting that Obama is sort of, fanning class war, and Ed Schultz talking about how this all could lead to a civil war. Am I a pessimist, Andrew, to say that I never thought I'd say these words, but I sort of agree on Ed Schultz. I see the country lining up for something. I'm not saying it's a CGI battle in the movie Troy, but there's something coming down the path. What do you smell? You're out there in the streets.
Well, I've been following the same group of people. I went to Wisconsin twice, and I see we're literally finding the same people that were in Wisconsin, or when I was in a confrontation down at a protest organized by Van Jones, against the Koch brothers. We're finding the same people at all of the events that have happened since, President Obama came to power. I mean, this was the organizer, community organizer, and this is community organizing. You're witnessing community organizing, and each demonstration, whether it be a demonstration against me and Glenn Beck in Chicago, whether it be a demonstration against Scott Walker in Wisconsin, or whether you see them bringing in the anarchists and the socialists in a much more blatant fashion like they have. This is community organizing. About your pessimism, there's an interesting thing. In 1968, it was the corner of Haight and Ashbury, and there's a juxtaposition here, the intersection of scary and hilarity. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about this, is that when people look at this, they start looking at these people and say, this is too funny. There are too many bizarre, goofy events, the way that they talk in their consensus with their twinkles up and twinkles down. The people, in the New York Times, heralding one kid who lost his virginity as presented to the tribe by an elder statesperson. I think that reminds me of the scene in Endless Love where her mother watched the unflowering. So it's just the bizarreness and the human spectacle and the funny stuff that's seen on TV. You just played Bang on the Drum. Right now, the biggest schism within this group of people who want to take over the world is the drummers versus the anarchists. Mm-hmm. And if that's going to be the revolution, I like our odds.
What do the first one to break out into some sort of violence, the Oakland one. Do you think they have a Harvey Keitel fixer character that is sent to the place where it's first to get violent? You say you see recurrent characters there. I'm wondering if they've sent their black ops guy up to Oakland. Why did that break out first in your eyes?
Nobody was paying attention to that. We had a stringer who was on the ground. I can't say what employ he was, but he's a pretty high up guy paying attention to what was going on live television. And it was violence and the group threatening the local television, which is sympathetic to their underlying political cause, but telling them they can't be there in a public park filming them going against the First Amendment. And then these people started to attack them, and dogs sicked them. One reporter, whose first name is Amy, I forget her last name, Amy Holyfield, had a guy say, we kill white B-words like you around here. And they didn't even report that type of thing. The mainstream media does not want to cover the violent and scary nature of this thing because they weirdly sympathize with the soft push towards a soft socialism. So they understand that there's going to be a few cracked eggs. But it wasn't just Oakland. We have been scanning the local news television feeds. We had riot police and bedlam in Albuquerque. There's been in San Francisco last night, the riot police were out. So it's not just in Oakland where things have gotten hinky.
The riot police in San Francisco, often initially mistaken at this time of the year for theme homosexuals going to a party.
Well, there's been a lot of body fluid exchanged at a lot of these Occupy things. So if you're young and experimental, there may be a place for you in the Occupy movement.
The big government piece, though, put a more the subversive face on this, though. Crowdsource this. Emails expose Occupy Wall Street conspiracy to destabilize global markets and governments. When I look at the crowd, I don't sense it runs that deep. Is there somebody in there, though, in a planning tent, or somebody who's... are these the operatives you speak of that you see on a recurrent basis? That's the overall plan?
Well, look, the best laid plans of mice and people who have watched a lot of television and Simpsons episodes, and this is a group of people who have great aspirations, especially in the planning stages, and that's what the emails that we discovered showed. They included Rolling Stone reporter Matt Taibbi. They included Dylan Ratigan from MSNBC advising these people what they should do. We also discovered a New York Times reporter who got arrested on the Brooklyn Bridge in the Occupy Wall Street thing, consorting with the socialists and the anarchists, and they were talking very openly about escalating things into more illegal places, kind of like taking over banks and trying to confront the police. And I think that one of the dangerous things about having the socialists and the anarchists who have been involved in this type of stuff internationally, whether it be in Greece or anti-WTO events, is that these people have sophisticated plans that they've tried time and again on trying to provoke the police into getting them to fight them. And what they're doing is that they're taking those provocations off of the internet, and they're editing out that, and all you see is the police brutality, as they describe it, when they're the ones who are instigating for the purpose of trying to bring people into the movement based upon sympathy that the federal authorities have gotten out of control.
We're talking to Andrew Breitbart, who has bigger cojones, quite frankly, than the underdog balloon in the Macy's parade, founder and proprietor of Big Hollywood, Big Government, author of Righteous Indignation, Excuse Me While I Save the World. And if it does break out, look for Andrew with the Buford Pusser stick and fall in behind him. That's where I'm heading right away, because this is a courageous cat. Now, how's your life, baby? You good? Everything good?
Oh, everything's great. And look, if the audience wants to help me out, if somebody out there is a seamstress, if you make a Captain Capitalism cape and outfit, I will run through Occupy Wall Street with $1,000 bills, and I will give these people precisely what they want.
I think that says it all right there. Thank you, Andrew. Say hi to Orson for me.
Okay, bye then.
Bye-bye. The guy's fearless. What can I say?
Captain Capitalism.
He would do it.
He would definitely
do it. I swear to God, he would do it.